Hey, this is Marcus from Illumina. Welcome to the Microsimulation Loss of Access to Site. Whilst the working conditions have changed dramatically over the last couple of years, losing access to a critical site can seriously disrupt any organization at the best of times. This microsimulation is really built to help site management teams build up the capability to understand the impacts of the loss of access to critical site and also put in place some preparedness around mitigating any impacts. Without further ado, let's get into it. As with all of Illumina's microsimulations, our microsimulations are housed in our digital event rooms. Participants can get started by clicking on the microsimulation button, which will take them for a quick tour around the dashboard, including where to access critical scenario information in our digital whiteboards, where to access the tasks that have been allocated to them in our task board, as well as the document repository, where they can access critical documentation required for preparedness or response. Once the tour is complete, they can get started. As you can see in this microsimulation, the scenario is built around losing access to a primary office location, with emergency services attending to a blaze and a full building evacuation taking place, with workers evacuating without any office equipment such as laptops. Due to the scale of the damage incurred, it could be months before the office is accessible again. The tasks that have been outlined in this particular microsimulation are very much to start around what does the incident level look like for this? Pushing a team into understanding, is this just an operational site response? Will it require a more regional or even a senior strategic level response? The second task has been allocated around accessing the business continuity plan to identify what are the critical functions that may be impacted by this particular event, including any resources that might be required to recover all of those critical functions. And finally, there's a task that's been built in here to access the next of kin details to make contact with staff that have been hospitalized, but they're unable to be contacted. This is one of those funny tasks that it will typically end up in the bucket of a human resources specialist, but it is quite common for organizations to trip up and realize that they don't actually have the next of kin contact details. The results of these tasks can be communicated back into the event board so that the resilience champion can circle back and see what's been done. Once the microsimulation's been complete, participants can wrap the microsimulation up, which will take them through a quick debrief where they can fill in some information around the loss of critical systems that have been identified, any disruptions that have been identified through the potential outage, how they believe the organization could be more resilient, and their level of confidence both before the microsimulation and after the microsimulation. Finally, to capture some basic information and feedback around how they believe the microsimulation could be improved. Once that information is collected, it'll aggregate up for the resilience champion to get a great idea of what engagement looks like within the resilience program, as well as any identified opportunities to improve resilience across the organization. Illumina has hundreds of microsimulations built and ready to go to help you build engagement in resilience organization-wide. For more information or to book a personalized tour, go to illumina.io or click the link below.